presents the Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week. The University of Maryland Terrapins versus the Johns Hopkins University Blue Jays.
It's number 3 Hopkins and number 6 Maryland, the 98th meeting between these two schools. But throw out all the records. This is all about local pride, Keith. You know it as well as anybody.
Scott, you hit the nail right on the head. Local pride. You can play this game anywhere. It just happens to be here at the Mecca of college lacrosse, Homewood Field, which is probably where this game should be played. Maryland and Hopkins, two physical teams with a lot to play for today. Pride, of course, number 1.
All right, let's bring in our expert analyst. He's played in this series. Quint Kesnick, the former Hopkins goalie. When we talk about Maryland, you got to think defense. Second best defense in the nation.
You can't spell the word Maryland without the D, and this team is stacked on the defensive end. I love the way they play. It's more of an old school style. Guys like Michael Halley, who will feature right here. Watch him on the double team. Sneaks behind and makes the takeaway check. He's 6'1", 215-pound junior out of Wantagh, New York. He's a Tawara Time Trophy finalist, meaning he's one of the top 12 players in the country. 40 straight starts for the defender. Great takeaway artist right there. He picks off the pass. Last week against Navy, had 5 ground balls, 4 takeaways, 100 ground balls on his career. Michael Halley, he can score also. 3 goals and 5 assists on his career. He'll be matched up against Doniger today.
Face-off expert for the Terps, Brian Carroll. Talk about his play.
Yeah, Maryland and Hopkins today, I think it's going to be a close, low-scoring game, meaning emphasize the face-offs. Brian Carroll, the senior out of Chaminade on Long Island, 5'9", 195 pounds. He's won nearly 60% of his draws, 35 ground balls, 98 face-off wins this season, 224 for his career. His best game was against Virginia, where he won 15 draws.
All right, Keith, over on the other side, when we talk about top players for Hopkins, you're looking at a couple of young guys today.
Yeah, Dave Petramala, not afraid to play the freshman in this year, and they have produced. Kyle Berry will wear number 5. He will start on the attack. He's a freshman from the Haverford School in Pennsylvania, and he has infused a lot of life in the offense. He has scored 11 goals already this year, 6 assists. He's a 5'10" freshman. And Scott, there are many first-year players for the Blue Jays contributing.
And you got a Kyle Harrison, who we saw get off to a great start in his first game this year.
Just a freshman playing like a junior or a senior in many games this year. He will test Brian Carroll at the face-off X. He has come up big already this year in face-offs, in scoring, in playing defense. He can do a little of everything. He's only scored 4 goals, and he had 2 of them against Princeton in the first game of the year. But Scott, he does so many other things well. Hard to believe he's a freshman.
All right, there you have some of the top players. Back to take a look at the starting lineups right after this.
The Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week. Brought to you by Toyota. More choices, better choices. Get the feeling. Toyota. Wells Discount Liquors. Visit Wells for all your entertaining needs. And Union Memorial Sports Medicine. Outstanding in the field.
Toyota. Maryland Terps aren't camera shy. They've won their last 4 games on 2 Sports. Let's take a look at Dave Cottle's lineup.
This is an explosive offense, attack-oriented team. You got J.R. Bordley from Landon, Dan LaMonica from Boys Latin, and Mike LaMonica. He leads the team in shots. He's got 69. Dan has 12 goals and 19 assists. The midfield, Mike Mollett, what a great season he has had. 15 goals, 15 assists. The speedy Nate Watkins, 13 goals, and Alex Poole from St. Paul's. He does all the dirty work for that unit. The defense, the second best unit in the country. These guys love to get out and play aggressive man-to-man defense. Lee Zink, Chris Pasavia, you'll see a lot of him today, and Michael Halley. We showed you Howley in the open. And the goalie, Danny McCormick from Landon, one of the best in the country, 50 goals against, 5.98 goals against, save percentage, .627. McCormick is on fire.
The class of 29 just marched behind us. It's homecoming at Hopkins. You played in this game. The stands will be full. What's the home field worth today?
I think the home field's worth a goal or 2. I think the experience of playing in this rivalry, though, is worth maybe 2 or 3 goals. And both teams, especially Hopkins, has some inexperience. You got guys like Kyle Barry and Kyle Harrison that have never played in this rivalry, and I think that's big.
Okay, Keith, let's look at the starting lineup for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Quint just mentioned the first guy on that list. First team attack, we'll have Kyle Barry, the freshman, Bobby Benson, the junior from McDonough. He's a 26-goal scorer. And another freshman, Peter Lesor, freshman from New York. 45 goals between that trio. On midfield, a couple of converted attackmen. Connor Ford, sophomore from St. Paul's. Kyle Harrison, who we highlighted earlier in the show, and Adam Doniger, the attackman last year, now a midfielder and having a tremendous season for Dave Petromala. On defense, like Maryland, big, strong, and physical. Michael Pizer, the junior from Cold Spring Harbor, PJ DeConza, the senior from Manhasset, and Chris Watson, another one of those freshmen. He's from Yorktown, and they all play in front of Nick Murtha, the senior captain, who has really made Dave Petromala look good this year. He started Murtha over Rob Scher, and Murtha has stepped up big.
I know you want the Baltimore County Savings Bank keys to the games. Quint's got them.
Got some excellent keys this week for the Maryland Terrapins. One thing you got to keep your eye on is the Road Warriors. In this series, Maryland has not fared well here at Homewood Field. Since 1970, their only victories are in 70, 72, 92, and then 1996. It's 4 wins in the last 32 years. Pressure defense, look at the numbers. 6.3 goals against. 4th in the country. To me, though, they're the best unit in the nation. For Johns Hopkins, the marquee matchups, they need to win these battles. It's PJ DeConza against Dan LaMonica, and Doniger's going to be covered by Halley. Keep your eye on those terrific matchups. And finally, the extra man. Look at the differential. Hopkins on fire, 48%. The Terps struggling at 24%. And keep your eye on Maryland, who tends to foul a bit. Hopkins can capitalize, and that could be a huge key.
All right, guys, the 98th meeting, Maryland and Hopkins, is coming up next on 2 Sports. Big crowd here at Homewood. Brian Carroll and Kyle Harrison will face it off from the X. Hopkins in the home white, Maryland in the red. And this is one of the keys you guys mentioned. The X would be important. Both of these guys up around the 60% mark on the year.
Carroll wins it himself. He's got 2 great wing players, Paul Gillette, number 18, and Howley will bump up on the wing because he's going to be covering Doniger. Advantage Maryland, I believe, because of their wing play.
Nate Watkins brings it into the attack zone for Maryland. Now backs it up.
And Quint, we'll see how Maryland matches up right here, or how Hopkins matches up. We see Watson on Mike LaMonica to start out.
Harned's going to cover Mollett. I think the 3 of us are in agreement that Mike Mollett may be the offensive key for Maryland. He's always involved in the goal, whether it be the second assist, drawing the double team.
He can break down a defense. That's Mollett, number 1, right up top. Alex Poole.
Hopkins defense this year very stingy, but not an aggressive man-to-man package. They like to pack it in.
Poole with a little room, now drives the double team.
Great help from Watson.
And a shot with a little mustard on it from Mike LaMonica.
LaMonica's 70th shot of the season. He lets it rip. He's got that incredibly fast left-handed shot, and there's his brother Dan, the quarterback of the offense, from behind.
And already a substitution, guys. Tom Garvey, the freshman, in for Harned to take Mollett out front now. So Dave Petromala making a move right out of the gate.
Watkins looking out front, nothing there. Good catch on the short hop and a shot and a save. So right out of the gate, Nick Murtha.
That first save has always been the toughest when you're a goalie. You come out, try to get a good warm-up in, but the opening game jitters can be so strong. And to make the first save, I always thought was crucial. You can see Murtha behind the play pumping his fist.
Big crowd starting to fill in here at Homewood. The Maryland women down Hopkins in our early game, 13-8. Kyle Harrison, there's the freshman Keith featured in the pregame show. Friends High School.
Pasavia will cover the freshman Barry. Expect a lot of checks. Pasavia loves to get out and throw all kinds of different checks, try to get the ball on the turf.
As you called, Quint, Mike Halley is guarding Doniger right out here, right in front of us right now. Number 25, Doniger in white. That's a key matchup.
I liked the move Harrison gave us with the fake pass and then a quick step to the cage. And there's a shot on goal. Doniger with the left-hander. Hopkins retains possession. Connor Ford with it.
Body save by McCormick. The loose ball, though, by Ford.
Saw Pat McGinnis and McCormick before the game. Quint just killing some time and no doubt talking about what was ahead.
And a shot wide from Ford. Maryland comes in 6.33 goals against average, second best in the nation. Cornell just under 6 goals a game, leads the nation.
It's a team package. You have 2 great defenders individually in Pasavia and Howley. And you got a guy like Brett Harper. Last week played Eddie McKinnon of Navy. Completely shut him out of the game. You got Lee Zink and then Carrington King and Gillette, the short stick midfielders, tremendous in their own right.
Lesueur thought he had a step. He did, but checked from behind.
And that's going to be Maryland's ball, Scott. Great hustle, I think, by Harper. You mentioned, maybe not by Harper. Let's see who that was. But great check, as you said, from behind to create that whole play.
They rotate quickly to the ball. You'll see the double team. Lesueur getting inside. And then Gillette just sprinting to the line. Look at the physical play by Carrington King, the big senior. He is the only senior on that defense. Coach Petramala and Cottle.
Wait, what's the player's feel on that play? Because Lesueur obviously looked like he had the defense beat. Does he have to have a feel where that stick's going to be when he takes the shot back?
Yeah, he's got to know that when he pulls it back to uncork it, Lee Zink's got his stick hanging right over his shoulder. So as an attackman, you want to kind of short arm that shot. Shoot it with your wrist. Keep the stick in front of your body, exactly, or in front of your head.
Guys, the first quarter been kind to Maryland as what looks like Watkins there moving in. They've outscored their opponents 23-13 in the first quarter. So both teams, guys, with some chances early.
Pizer with the long pole. Pass just sails wide.
Coming in, you would anticipate that this would be a low-scoring game. Maryland has only given up double digits twice. Towson scored 10 on them. Virginia put about 11 up on them.
Which brings us to, Keith, the portion of the program everybody waits for, the Q line.
I'm going to go out on the edge here. I'm going to rate the Maryland Terps a 1.5 goal favorite. Yes, folks, here at Homewood Field, going against all trends.
Now, would this be because
your allegiance?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, is this because you are a Hopkins grad and not wanting to look like a homer?
Well, you look at the numbers.
Does that skew the number for you?
I got the under-over at about 18 total goals. But the key that stands out to me is both these teams played Virginia. You got to compare those efforts. Maryland went toe-to-toe with Virginia, a very close game. A game they could have won. They gave up some shorthanded goals, which really killed them. Hopkins got beat by, what, 6 goals in that game.
Now, we should point out, too, that the Q line is just for informational purposes, and the Q line has only been accurate once this year, so take that for what it's worth.
Coach
right?
Petramala will be happy to hear that I have Maryland favored by a goal
and he said that. He shared that with us before this game started. But with that said, you're pretty close, so you're usually right on. I'll support you.
Horrible this year.
We're seeing Craig Hochstadt, number 4 in the game for the first time.
There's some room, and a shot sails wide.
Matt Brock seeing some time at the midfield. The second midfield, Hochstadt, Brock, and Willie Pasavia. Quickness, ball control going to be their signature. You got a shot like that 5 yards in front of Murthy, you got to bury it. Big move by Mollett. Ankle breaker behind the cage. He's got that move where he fakes to his left and comes back right. Sometimes it's what we call a split dodge. Other times it's what we call a finalizer dodge. But that time, Pizer, his ankles are
homogenized. Is that what you wanted, Scotty? Homogenized.
He just keeps throwing them on us. I don't know where he comes up. He must have a list somewhere.
Either way, it's a potent move.
No score. We played about 5 minutes here. Maryland and Hopkins, the 98th meeting between these two schools.
Guys, I think we've seen more shots in the first 6 minutes of this game than we did in 2 halves of lacrosse last Friday night.
Jump shot. That was Pasavia, Willie Pasavia. And here come the Blue Jays in transition.
Tim Muir, the defensive midfielder specialist, kickstarting the offense, and very impressed this year with Maryland's defensive transition. Started with Towson a couple of weeks ago, and great job last week against Navy. Kevin Boland coming on for the first time, so Dave Petramala has his second midfield in the game.
He had the big game against Syracuse. Boland, game winner, 3 goals, 2 assists.
We'll see 42 Joe McDermott. This is Connor Ford, who's doing a little of both, right? This year, Quint, a little midfield, a little attack.
Both these coaches just utilize talent. You know, the roles of attack and midfield really are kind of really not defined, and players just play offense. Right now, Ford is in the game. What role? You could call it midfield. You could call it attack.
Offense is what I call
offense. The same with Mollett. When that second midfield came in for Maryland, Mollett rotated back and played some attack.
McDermott looking out front. There's the shot they wanted. And a save. And a quick stick score. Benson right in the middle with the quick stick, and Hopkins on top 1-0.
Boland on the rebound, redirects quickly to Benson, who one-touches his past McCormick. Look at McDermott, gains the penetration. Lesor robbed from close range. Rebound to Boland from Gilman. Inside to Benson, one-touch, and then Carrington King absolutely rolls over Benson, and Benson is hobbling off the field.
Bobby Benson comes limping upfield. Hopkins on top, 1-0. 8:25 left in the first.
Toyota.
Bobby Benson gets the Blue Jays on the board, 1-0, 8:25 to play in the first quarter.
Benson had a career high last week against Ohio State, 5 goals, 2 assists. He's now scored at least 1 goal in 32 of his last 34 games, including 21 straight games. Pretty impressive numbers. That man right there, Bob Benson,
he was
as a freshman, 28 goals last year, 28 goals. He just does it week after week after week.
Member of the U.S. World Team that will play later this summer. McDonough grad. His brother coming here next year from McDonough.
Scrappy play on the face-off. It'll be a hold against the Terps.
Yeah, it was Lou Braun that time taking the face-off.
Okay, any production that Hopkins can get out of Lou Braun to keep Kyle Harrison fresh is a huge plus.
See how Benson's moving around. Just took that pass. Appears to be okay, but he was hobbling after that last goal. Harrison.
Boy, is he quick.
Ooh, he got dumped, got rolled right after he took the shot.
That's Carrington King again, laying down the lumber inside. You can see that man right there has got the quickest first step that we've seen this season. No question, goes by the first guy as easily as anyone that I can recall in recent memory. A.J. Hogan would be the only similar midfielder, and maybe Mike Powell from Syracuse.
And here's Harrison.
Could be a 10.
Happened? They brought it out.
Looks like it could be a 10-second violation.
Speaking of Syracuse, Quint, they lost earlier this week to Cornell, so the merry-go-round continues at the top of the college rankings. Virginia, I guess the door open for them now to take over the top spot.
This is 3 and 6. These teams come in. Hopkins at 3, Maryland at 6. Ball it out on the wing now on the right side.
Interesting to see what Billy Dwan, Dave Petromola have figured out to battle Mike Molla today. He had a super game last week against Navy.
And a left-hand laser by Mike LaMonica sails high.
Jamie Dow drawing the double team, kicks it to LaMonica. Mike Morcell, number 7's in the game also for Maryland. So both coaches really playing a lot of personnel in the first quarter, trying to get the guys in the game immediately, maybe get rid of some of the nerves that are associated with a game like this.
Oh, good look, and a behind-the-back shot and the score. Very nice. Jamie Dow wrapped it behind his back, and we are tied at 1.
Big goal by Jamie Dow, behind the back, takes the feed from X. You can see Dan LaMonica, former high school teammates at Boys Latin, and he beats Murtha on the near side.
Yeah.
Wow. Big goal by Jamie Dow, whose sister Jocelyn just got out of the hospital this week with her first chemotherapy, and she's doing great at home. I know she's watching with her mom, and Jamie's father, John, is here in attendance.
Boy, that will earn you playing time at any level. You make a play like that, that's big. And the battle goes on the X, and it's picked up by Harnett and just slapped away nicely by Mike Halley, the All-American defender. And it will go back to Maryland.
There's our man, Halley.
Boy, is he tough.
Credit that face-off win to Hopkins, because Harnett got possession, but Halley's right there. You see him on the sideline. Junior defender from Wantagh, one of the best in the country.
I guess, Quinn, if you draw him as an offensive player or Pasavia, you have to be ready to take a beating. You have to get mentally ready to get physically pounded.
I like Howley. Only 1 foul on the season. This is a guy who puts intense pressure on you. It's amazing that he's played about 9 games right now and only has 1 foul, while being so aggressive, while trying to take the ball away. And it really shows.
Shane Battier.
Yeah, it shows you know, just what a skillful takeaway artist he is.
Obvious reference to Duke, of course, last year. I think I'll get Gary Williams' support on that. Euphoria still going on down at College Park over Maryland's championship season, basketball. And
Yeah, Dave Cottle got a little tough act. I know it's his first year down there, but after what the Fridge did in football, Gary wins a national championship, coming off a seven straight women's tournaments. Field hockey's pretty good, right? Baseball's doing a lot better this year. And there's Mollett, stopped as he turns the corner.
Still a free ball.
Ooh, and here go down the bodies.
Great hustle by the Terps.
Double team, better get rid of it, and they'll get rid of you. And there's a flag down. And you see the intensity now, a little chippiness.
Tell you, this play started with Mollett being able to gain inside penetration against Pizer. And Murtha made a spectacular save. Then the ball got loose on the ground, and this is Pizer on the back of LaMonica. Either a trip or a push with possession. The whistle should have been blown right there as the ball hit the ground. But you see Pizer 20 trailing LaMonica, who's so quick and active on those loose balls. Great hustle by the Maryland offense. They turned it over, but they refused to let Hopkins get the easy clear.
And then after the whistle, there was a little pushing and shoving. You could see the emotions running pretty high in this rivalry.
30-second violation.
And the guy doing a little of the pushing was freshman Tom Garvey, number 30, who tried to say, hey, I'm here now. This is my series as well, my rivalry too.
Loose ball, and Hopkins up with it.
Well, what a unforced error there.
DJ DeConzo, look out, here they come. And he gets rid of it. Good pass.
This will be interesting. He'll draw an awful lot of pressure, and does.
We'll see what the call is. Timeout, Hopkins.
Wow, Coach Petramala could see that one coming. It was Pasavia coming out to make the check against Kevin Connery, a guy who's in the game just for man down, and he sensed it and calls a timeout, a possession-saving timeout by the coach.
And Dave Cottle kind of threw his hands up in disgust. Oh, man, I thought we had one.
See Dave Cottle, Scotty, 3-7 against Hopkins as a coach over at Loyola. This, of course, is his first meeting against the Blue Jays as a Maryland head coach. Certainly familiar with Dave Petramala. Heck, Dave coached with Dave Cottle for a couple of years.
There you see some of the comparison on season stats here. Maryland scoring
very
a little
similar.
More.
Goals allowed is what I look at, Quint, just as you do.
You look at the shots there. Terps averaging 44 per game. Last year it was down around 30. So they're getting great looks at the cage. Coach Cottle is definitely an offensive innovator, but the man up can't be happy with 24%.
And great case in point. First possession of this extra man.
Listening in the huddle, Dave Petramala talking to his Blue Jays.
You and PJ, switch on the pitch. PJ and Michael Pizer, switch on the pitch. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. 1-3 win, 1-2-3. Michael. PJ.
It'll be Hopkins' ball. They will still be a man down. Expect some Maryland pressure here with either Pasavia or Halley. Julian Gary, number 11 for the Maryland Terps, will actually come out and play Harrison. You talk about two premier athletes in lacrosse. You're going to see them going head-to-head right here.
Gary, the Maryland football star receiver, led the Terps in receiving the last 3 years and just joined the lacrosse team in April from Horseheads, New York. Elmira, New York. Horseheads High School.
Teammate of Nate Watkins at Horsehead. You know about his athleticism and his just lightning quick ability in the open field.
Keith, it's been 20 years since a football player played lacrosse in Maryland. He said, hey,
right?
Get me in shape. Get me in shape for the NFL draft. Doniger. Ooh, fires with the left hand wide left.
You can see Howley shading Doniger. He was going to concede that shot from 12 yards. Doniger's a right-handed player. Howley gives him that outside shot. Trust his goalie, McCormick, to make the save.
We're seeing a matchup here, Gary on Harrison, and should be interesting.
Not too interesting that time. Wow. A good save. He was screened. Oh, and the rebound score. Hopkins on the rebound scores to take the lead. The initial shot, it looked like Danny McCormick was screened. Somehow got the body on it, but then Hopkins jumped on the rebound, and the Jays take a 2-1 lead.
McCormick robs Harrison, and you'll see Julian Gary go to make a play on the ball, but Benson, he's everywhere with that long wingspan. Watch him, hockey shot, whack. It's in the back of the net.
So Bobby Benson with both Hopkins goals. Call it a garbage goal if you'd like, but he's Johnny on the spot, Bobby Benson. Terps have some of their fans here at Homewood Field. Some young fans here right now. Hopkins up 2-1. Bobby Benson with both Blue Jay goals.
Did I see the lacrosse athlete just run by the football athlete on that last possession?
It looked that way. He went to his left.
Hey, it's awful. It's going to be an awful tough transition for Julian Gary to come in and play in a game of this magnitude. It would be much better had, you know, obviously he couldn't have joined the season earlier, but to get out some of the kinks.
But let's see if he can go over the middle like Julian Gary can and catch the ball.
Okay,
with a 220 safety closing in on him.
Peter Lesueur, first time we've seen him today with the ball. He's another one of those good-looking freshmen.
Maryland rotates the long pole. Halley up to cover Boland. So they play the shorties on Lesueur and McDermott.
Hopkins taking a little air out of it now. A little over 3 minutes left, first quarter. Lesueur moves into some red and turns it back around.
It's got no movement off the ball at all.
Boland sneaking through.
But good help. Oh, what a quick.
Look at Pasavia working over Barry.
Got him down now.
And makes the play.
Oh, what a play.
That's defense.
And this is Gillette. Look out, here comes Maryland. What a series from Pasavia.
You talk about confidence coming out, getting the stick in the numbers of Kyle Barry and making the check. I love it. I love it. Nowadays, you see guys sit back and really not throw many checks. Pasavia and Halley, you got to love their aggressive nature. They play defense.
Well, you got to get rid of the ball in front of those two guys. I mean, you can't be wasting any time at all. I think the freshman gained a little experience right
Once
there.
Once he was on the turf, too, it was just like dead meat. It was just like roadkill.
I'm of the opinion that you can't beat Maryland in the 6-on-6 this season. They just do not give up any 6-on-6 half-field goals. To beat them, you're going to have to beat them on the extra man or in transition.
And LaMonica gives it up.
Yeah, Quinton did a wonderful job in transition against Towson, stopping their transition.
And there's Mike Mollett just breaking down the defense, getting right on the doorstep, and scoring the easy layup off Nick Murtha.
Mollett unassisted, his 16th goal of the season. Watch the quickness that he possesses on this turf. Little fake right, comes back left, tucks it, wraps it around Murtha, makes the extra fake. It's in the back of the net. Mollett, the offensive MVP for the Terps. Right here's the great move. You can see Garvey lunge at him right there. He's toast at this stage. Right now you need help defensively. The other Terrapins do a great job of occupying their men. No double team.
The lacrosse version of the crossover, Scott and Quint, and nothing fancy about that play. Just one-on-one. I'm going to beat you. Here it is. Stop it.
So they've traded goals. Benson first. Dow answered that. Then Benson scored his second, and Mollett comes right back.
Mollett, his freshman year at Maryland, broke his leg. Came back as a sophomore, and at the time, Scott Marr was their offensive coordinator. Said, hey, this kid's got the best split dodge, the quickest right-to-left move that I have ever seen at the college level. And that was saying something as a sophomore. Now here is Mollett a couple years later.
And you mentioned Brett Harper, and there he is with a takeaway of Benson. And Scott, slowly the defensive pressure of Maryland starting to take its toll.
13, pick 13's pocket. We got a timeout.
Dave Cottle wants to talk it over, sensing maybe a little momentum swing right here.
Last week, Harper, as I said, covered Eddie McKinnon of Navy. Really took him out of the game, and it was kind of an oversight on our part. We really focused on Pasavia and Halley, but there was Harper just shutting down Navy's main man.
I don't fucking know.
Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week. Here's what's coming up. Next week, we're at UMBC. Army against UMBC at 1. And then a couple of Hopkins games.
Testing your knowledge of the logos there, Scott.
Yeah, that's the Towson Tiger. I recognize that Tiger.
Very impressed.
And that Blue Jay. And then there's a Greyhound down there in the bottom, so Loyola must be on that game May 4th.
2 dogs, a horse.
It doesn't do us a whole lot of good. Let's just end the quarter here, make them play defense the last Come on, take good possession here. You're playing very well. Just keep it up. Be the best. 1, 2, 3. Be the best. Let's go, Ray. Let's go, Ray.
Dave Cottle's strategy, Scott. Let him play defense the rest of the quarter, and Quinton maybe don't beat themselves a little bit. create an opportunity for Maryland. But you mentioned Brett Harbor, another one of those Upper Arlington kids from Columbus, Ohio, who have infiltrated the East in waves. They keep coming.
Defense U.
Yeah, it's like linebacker U at Penn State.
Right, they just crank out defenders.
Come on.
Any attackmen out of there, middies? I always see her.
Steve Dussault, I believe.
Oh, yeah,
that right?
Yeah,
Wow, he's as good
he's a
as they
great one.
come.
Yeah.
Potential player of the year.
But primarily, they're all defensemen out Upper Arlington.
Athletes. It's
Yeah.
just a factory of corn-fed athletes.
You got the wrong state.
Scotty,
That's the wrong state.
I guess the kids that can't play football at Ohio State or seriously are going to, because they're all football players,
Sure.
are going to play lacrosse over here at a real good school and play well. And Brandon Shook, I think, last couple years here at Hopkins.
Under a minute left now, 48 seconds.
Maryland starts out in a circle. They'll kick it to a 1-4-1 set. LaMonica behind, Nate Watkins up top. Maryland now must keep it in the box. They've been warned for stalling.
That shriek you're hearing is Dave Petramala. He started out the game with no voice.
Forward, Marty! Deuce! It's Deuce! It's gotta be Deuce!
It's got to be Deuce.
It's going to be Deuce. We will see what Deuce is.
Mollett trying to get free. Good look in front. The bouncer. Just Mike LaMonica really couldn't get the shot off. He just tried to
That was a
bounce it.
sensational catch by
Wow, wasn't it
LaMonica
ever.
in traffic. Somehow managed to catch it, twisting.
Plenty of time left, 7 seconds.
But once he caught it, he had nowhere to go with it. The defense just smothered. Mollett.
Oh,
Right in front, a shot to score. Boy, how do you draw him up any better than that? Ryan Moran finished it, but Mollett got free, set it up, and Moran with the layup.
Ryan Moran from Mollett. The key here is the off-ball action. Maryland kind of spread the field. Nate Watkins cut right-handed. He fell to the ground. Somehow the defensive communication for Hopkins broke down, and Moran flashed towards the middle. You talk about being wide open in front of the cage. There's not a Blue Jay defender within a 3-yard radius, and there's Moran. Multiple fakes, past Murtha on the near side. Watch the cut, right-handed, fills the space. If you're the defense right there, you got caught overextending. You've got to slough in. Big goal for the Terps.
And that is the end of the quarter. So Maryland scores with 2 seconds left in the quarter. They lead at 3-2.
Wow.
Here's your Paramount Kings Dominion first quarter stats. Quint's favorites.
Go down to the bottom. Turnover, 6 for the Blue Jays, only 1 for Maryland. That's the difference to me. Face-off so far in favor of Johns Hopkins, but they're not converting. Their 2 goals, you could argue were both kind of garbagey. The first off a loose ball, kick to Boland, who jammed the ball inside the Benson. The second was an outright rebound. So Maryland's defense definitely playing very well right now.
Garbagey. That's a Long Island
Is that a
term.
Y or an E on the end of that?
Garbage-like.
But the Quint, the turnovers negates the face-off advantage.
Correct. Exactly. Question for Johns Hopkins: can they deal with the intense pressure that a Mike Halley and a Chris Pasavia and a Harper and a Zink and a Carrington King that they're applying? Very aggressive defense.
Boy, that's a great point. Not many teams can. We'll see if they can. Virginia obviously did in a very close game. Chess match going on now between Maryland coaching staff and Hopkins. Playing the matchups. Is that what they're doing here, Quinn? Trying to play the matchups.
Mollett's been the go-to guy. There's an unforced error right there. A little flip pass from Mollett to LaMonica. Couldn't handle it. Trickles over the end line.
Boy, frustrating for the Maryland coaching staff there.
Blue Jays trying to clear now as we start the second quarter.
Oh, what a catch. Oh, I was going to say, what a
Maryland.
catch.
Trouble.
This is Halley. I think he may have waited a little too long there. Looked like he was trying to draw the defense, Quint, but just waited a fraction too long.
I got to put the blame on that play on Ryan Moran, who's really not accustomed to playing attack. He's got to bust.
Yeah, he's
got to
go.
sprint down to the goal line extended and give a left-handed target. That time he was running evenly with Halley. What was Halley going to do?
Yeah, that's a good point. Get there and let him make the easy pass.
To Moran's
Absolutely.
defense, he is not familiar with playing the attack position. This is really his first start. We've seen Morcell in that position and Boardley.
Looks like Dave Cottle's trying to find something there, right? Yeah, kind of mixing and matching.
Does have a goal already from Moran, though, today.
This is Harrison.
Now Watkins on him.
Clear the side for him and let him do his thing.
See him shading him to the right now.
Now get some help. Up top, Doniger.
Wow, see that check.
He got undressed.
Unbelievable. 4-on-3 here, Quint.
Alex Poole. Oh, right out in front. A shot and a score. Mike LaMonica.
Starts with Halley. The Terps score in transition. A fast break. It's been weeks. We haven't seen one of these plays in ages.
Most exciting play in lacrosse.
The fans on their feet. It starts with Halley going over the head of Doniger. Doesn't get any better than this check. Watch him punch the sky. Whack right there. Ball's on the turf. He picks it up himself. They're off to the races. Here's LaMonica with the seam pass down low to his brother, I believe, Mike the lefty, and they score in transition. Beautiful goal. Starts with Halley to the LaMonica brothers.
And you mentioned what Ryan Moran didn't do 2 possessions ago. The entire offense that time did it. They got wide, they created some angles, and the LaMonica brothers finished it off. Well done, fast break by Maryland. Not much the defense could do there.
4-2 Terps.
Dan is one of the better point men on that textbook fast break that you will see in this nation. He's got a fast outside shot. The defense must respect him, but he's also extremely creative and gutsy with the ball. And that time he loves to jam that sidearm pass to his brother, who can catch anything inside the beltway.
Homewood Field is packed here for this one today. All the bleachers on the far side full. A lot of people standing along the fence. Big crowd.
That's a huge crowd. One of the biggest I've ever seen here.
Alex Poole back up top. Mollett. Swing it back to Watkins.
Boy, he's a big, strong guy, man.
And there drops down low and scores. He muscled inside, Keith, used that strength, and then a little finesse. Dropped down and shoveled it in.
You called that. You could see Benson Irwin did a good job initially getting Watkins behind the cage, but Watkins just bears in and turns the corner like a big truck that's going inside and not going to stop unless there's a double team. Nobody helps, and we've seen a couple unassisted goals now. The double teaming for Hopkins really has not been there thus far. Here's Watkins turning inside, shovel shot, backhanded past Murtha.
Well, you saw the whole combination there, because out on top you saw the quick feet. He was breaking down the defense with his quickness, and then the power inside.
Quinn, it almost looked like once he made his initial move and it was cut off, he was willing to dish the ball off, and then he saw he could make the turn, and did. Look out here.
Kyle Harrison could pass to Boland. Hopkins moving it around quick.
Great recovery by Maryland.
Connor Ford, tough angle.
Just quick defensive recovery. Hopkins had some numbers.
They did. Ford was behind the cage. Had he stepped up left-handed, there he is, he would have had a better shot, but he carried behind. And quietly, Danny McCormick now starting to exert himself. Hasn't given up a goal since the 4:13 mark of the first quarter, and that was a rebound goal. Here he is, the left-hander from Landon, holding the pipe. Solid as it gets right there. McCormick playing so confidently behind this veteran defense.
Hopkins has dominated the series 60 to 36 to 1, but the last 4 games have been split.
Last year's game, a game that Hopkins outplayed the Terps for 3 quarters. Maryland went on a 4-0 run and won that ball game, and right now they're on a 4-0 run as well.
Yeah, and Pat McGinnis had 21 saves in that game last year. He was fantastic.
Scott, these teams have met 3 times in NCAA championship finals and 5 in the Final Four. So
that's what builds a rivalry.
Absolutely.
Right? All those games over the years, it's big games, playing for titles. Not to mention the proximity of the 2 schools. 5-2 Maryland, second quarter. Ooh, you heard the pads and the penalty markers down. Pads getting popped by sticks.
Free possession here, and a big one now for Maryland.
Matt Brock is the Maryland player that got whacked.
Coach Dave Cottle has got to be thrilled so far with the production of his second and third midfields. Jamie Dow's got a goal. Brock drawing a foul right there. That's about as much as you can ask from those guys. Give me quality minutes, make something happen.
And now we'll have the penalty assessed as the ball hits the turf.
Brock cutting left-handed, and let me tell you, he is nearly His head is nearly taken off. Here he is, left-hander right there. Pizer reaching in, gets him. Garvey working on him. A clear slash, and you could hear this.
Oh,
you could hear
see
that
it there,
check
yeah.
from up here.
Man, you could see it from that angle. Great job, guys.
So it'll be an extra man situation. 9:57 left, second quarter. Maryland up 5-2. Hey, in College Park, it's Fear the Turtle, but up this way, Fear the Blue Jays. And what does it say? Hi, Quinn?
Hi, Quinn.
Guess my
Quinn the
handwriting.
Eskimo.
Quinn Carney.
My handwriting's not big enough, huh?
Yeah.
Quinn's finally got a fan. After all these years, we finally found a Quinn fan. Class of 29. Quinn Kesnick. 5-2 Maryland. Terps looking for more on the extra man. The number here is 27% because Maryland converts 27% on the extra man. Hopkins' extra man defense has given up 27%.
Wow, that's incredible.
Morcell comes in off the bench.
Andrew
Big
Schwartzman.
number 7, and Schwartzman, the left-hander.
From Pikesville, yeah. Saw his father downstairs. He's look out for number 38 today, guys. Well, there he is. Oh, it's a pass, and it's
that early
deflected.
In the past has done a lot on the extra man. We saw him in the College Park.
Maryland in their 3-3 set, 3 across the bottom, 3 up top. LaMonica, the trigger man. I think DeConza or Vince Smith, number 3, got their stick in the passing lane.
And now Hopkins back to even strength.
good hustle from Nick Murtha, but came up a little short.
Floor burn special.
Oh. They didn't have turf when you played here, did they, Quinn?
Yeah, they did.
Did they really? When
it wasn't that long ago.
48.
Turf was put in the early 80s, the turf came in.
Really? That long ago?
Yeah. I played on the second turf they had here. Now this is the third surface.
Three-goal Maryland lead, second quarter. Terps have won 4 straight on our TV broadcast, so they're not camera shy.
After starting at 0-5, I think Dick Adele was hating to see our cameras.
Watkins. Quick stick out front from Mike LaMonica.
Quinn, looks like Maryland feeling real comfortable on offense right now. 3-goal lead probably will do that to you.
Hopkins does not pressure the ball very much, so you can get in your comfort zone if you're a good passing team, and certainly Maryland this year, 44 shots a game, very unselfish though. In the games we've seen, you've got to be impressed with their ability to move the ball to the open man.
Absolutely.
Watkins up top, shot taken from Mike LaMonica.
A lot of shots, constant shots. LaMonica with the last 2 shots, he does a wonderful job, almost like a Juan Dixon type player, constantly moving off the ball, using the off-ball picks, energy, constant movement.
Bad place to be, and Mike LaMonica couldn't get the pass, sailed over his head.
Yeah, and he's going to be called for in the crease. Mike LaMonica, number 15.
Dan LaMonica losing his edge, driving right-handed, and really put himself in a no-win situation. Sitting down on the turf, staring at the defense.
Yeah.
He took a chance by lobbing that one to his brother.
Maryland 5 shots and 2 goals in the quarter, and Hopkins only 1 shot so far in the second quarter.
Kevin Boland, who came up so big against Syracuse a couple of weeks ago. Good defensive stand that time by Hopkins, Quint. They took a couple of good shots from Maryland and came up big.
Lesueur gives it back to McDermott.
Little mismatch here. See how Maryland handles this defensively. Mollett is caught on the defensive end of the field. A midfielder, yes, but remember, he's originally an attackman. Watch for the quick double team.
McDermott takes advantage of it. Good call, Quint. McDermott right back behind the cage and fires it in, and took advantage of that matchup with Mike Mollett.
You've got to give McDermott a lot of credit on this play. Scores his 4th goal of the season. But Joe McDermott, the sophomore, he knows he can take Mollett to the rack. He does just by outrunning him. But defensively, if you're a Terrapin, you've got to double team and help your Mike Mollett out. That's not the matchup.
I kept looking for it when you called for it, Scott. It never came. As a matter of fact,
Carrington
32
King,
Carrington King had his back turned.
He had his
Didn't
back
even see
turned,
it.
and credit Connor Ford for kind of flashing behind the cage there.
Absolutely.
Carrington King stayed with Connor Ford, and the seam opened up for McDermott. But smart play, McDermott. Maryland's defense got to communicate a little better.
Stopped a 4-goal Maryland run, so McDermott cuts the lead to 5-3.
Carroll just knocked Kyle Harrison right off the ball. Maryland trying to get back on the board here. They're leading 5-3.
Paul Gillette with that ground ball play is 45th of the season, one of the top ground ball players in the entire country.
Ryan Moran just jogging. That second midi back in with Moran. Jamie Dow had the goal earlier. You hear all the communication down on the field. It's a 4. A lot of 4s being yelled at.
Benson Irwin, the freshman from Friends.
Try to get it out front to Mike Morcell.
Dave Cottle just changes his offensive look, sends Dow behind the goal now. And he'll work on Tim Muir.
Dow had the behind the back goal. Up top, Mollett.
Well, you see the quarterback and Mollett
here,
there.
Head on a swivel.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Looking all over the field.
A lot of guys may have taken that shot, Quint.
Well, Mollett doesn't have the outside shot. That's the only thing he does not have. Maryland now in their 1-4-1 set. LaMonica behind, very dangerous. Mollett up top, also dangerous. Great set for this personnel. Some kind of warding off call, I believe.
It's turnover Maryland, so Hopkins will get it back. 5:20 left first half, 5-3 Maryland. Terps 7-2 on the year. Hopkins 7-1.
Winner of this game by me automatically in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
You could argue that this game means a little more to Maryland without a quality win on the season, although they have the ACC tournament next weekend at Duke University on Friday and Sunday.
Bolin unable to handle it. And the Terps come up with it.
Lee Zink with that turnover. Not much margin for error when you're attacking this Maryland defense. Great ride right there.
North Carolina seriously doesn't qualify in your mind as a real big win.
Not until North Carolina improves their standing. North Carolina got as a bubble team right now.
Okay.
Virginia playing Duke today. And if Virginia wins, North Carolina, Maryland, and Duke will do a coin toss to see what the matchups will be for the ACC semifinals.
4.5 minutes left first half. Mollett with it. Paul McMullen from the Sun joins us.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Paul. How you
Paul?
doing? Up top, Watkins just shrugs off the stick. That's warding.
Tom Garvey, the freshman from Garden City, getting his stick underneath the butt end hand of Nate Watkins, and Watkins was being lifted there, and if you take that hand off your stick, it often looks like you're warding. To Watkins' defense, he was not really shielding the stick, he was just going with the motion of Garvey, but for some reason the refs think that's a ward call.
Paul, we were just talking about what this game means down the road as far as tournament seeding, things of that nature.
What a pivotal game for Maryland. So that 9 a.m. draw out of the hat to see whether they have to play Virginia Friday night or Duke or Carolina. That'd be a big difference, and just be interesting to see if Hopkins can come back on them the way they did on Syracuse.
But I get the impression that we think about that, the fans think about that, but these guys, it's Maryland Hopkins. Forget all that stuff.
Absolutely right.
Bolin, quickness behind the cage. Benson shoots and scores. Benson's third goal of the game, set up by some nifty footwork from Kevin Bolin.
Boland and Benson, the lethal combination. Boland so quick behind the cage. This play was designed for Kyle Barry off a double pick on a right-handed cut. It wasn't there, but then the recut, right here, you'll see Barry flash. It wasn't there. Benson's left-handed, catches it and fires it. We've seen that goal time and time again. This was the game winner against North Carolina. It was Boland late stages to Benson. They do it again. Hopkins within 1.
Benson at 5 last time out against Ohio State. 3 here the first half today. Well, a huge crowd here at Homewood Field as you look across the way. Some in red, that would be Maryland fans probably, and a lot of them in blue. Paul, this has been a traditional series, but just a great turnout. You see all the interest in this game.
And it's good that the weather held off today, that those storms that were forecast aren't in Baltimore just yet.
Can we start the lacrosse season in April? Because I think the fans really hunker down in March, and then after Easter, they're like, okay, let's go watch a game.
Yeah. Quint, one of the best things about March Madness is that you're indoors when lacrosse fans are freezing.
That's right. A lot of TVs on. It's good for our audience, but...
Well, the live TV didn't cut into the crowd today, that's for sure, because this place is packed. People all along the fencing as well. We got a great game, 5-4, one-goal game. 3 minutes left first half.
I mean, Maryland wants to get back here the day after the Preakness for the quarterfinals. This will be the quarterfinal site for the South. And if Maryland can win this game, good chance they'll be playing that day.
It's going to take a 60-minute effort to beat this Hopkins team. We've seen this Hopkins team with a lot of resolve this year. Against Princeton, they put them away late. Syracuse dominating Hopkins. Hopkins somehow pulls that game out. Same against North Carolina late. So if you're Maryland, you must maintain your focus for the entire game here.
And there's a flag down as Corey Harned got a little too much.
It's going to be a push with possession. Petramala shrugging his arms. There is Corey Harned from Ward Melville. Came to Hopkins as an attackman. And there's the push from behind with possession. Good call on the far side.
Quint, you do know one thing about Petro's teams. They're going to have grit.
To me, that's what's been so impressive about this young squad. They have found different ways to win ball games when they haven't really played their A game, other than the Princeton game.
The extra man offense. .220 left in the half.
That's Schwartzman. We talked about him earlier, the left-hander. Seeing some time on this man-up unit.
Where do you want to go if you're Maryland here, Quint?
Mollett's got 4 extra man goals. He leads the team in extra man goals. He's inside right now.
Erlock with a couple. He's not out there. There's a quick left-hand shot. Sails wide.
Team's back to even strength.
Less than 2 minutes remaining in the half. 1:57
That's Dave Petramala looking like he wants a timeout and gets it.
Timeout called by Hopkins.
1:56 left. Keep it right here. Paul, we were talking earlier with Syracuse losing to Cornell this week. You know, Virginia's doors open for them, but it doesn't look like there's that dominant team.
And regarding to Maryland, there's a disclaimer about their schedule. Years past, the 2 Ivy teams that they end with, maybe Maryland walks through those games, but we've seen the balance and the depth to the Ivy League this year. And so once Maryland is through the ACC schedule, they still have some difficult non-conference games. Yeah, the seeding, forget about it. There's so much more lacrosse left, 3 weeks left.
Whoever has the show, you probably have the shorty if we leave you out there. So you guys work right end and be patient here. So minute 56, we're going to get it going. Let's split the crease when they slide, go 2 passes and play. All right, let's not make these plays. If they zone, we'll go 15 and take our time. Right? 15. Zone is 15. Name is red out. Any questions on that? Ball hits the ground.
Go behind, and they're in a 1-4. We go 4. If it's the 2 or 4 across, switch on the cross screens, come 4, and make sure we bump down the line. Okay? Bump down the line. Let's go. Come on, go, guys. Get yourselves in trouble. Let's go.
Yeah, our camera's taking you right inside the huddle, and the language very acceptable.
Both coaches were addressing the identical situation out of a 1-4-1 set with Mollett up top and LaMonica behind. Petramala was focusing on the picks inside, the screens inside. He said switch. So it's important that the defensive players communicate with one another. Coach Cottle really emphasizing patience. Let's get our looks.
Talked about the
switch into the zone, when they double team, he wants to split the crease. Looks like Maryland now will start in a circle offense. I doubt they'll stay with that for very long. This is just a setup. They'll get it around once and then move into some kind of pattern.
Teams at even strength, under 2 minutes left in the half. Maryland with a 1-goal lead. What was your over-under number in this?
Under-over was 18.
Yeah, Cowell said 17 to me, and I thought that was a bit high. but they're proving me wrong.
Watkins in the middle, but can't get his stick on that pass.
Good play by the Terp offense. Watkins, a right-hander, with his left hand, not as sure-handed inside.
He's still a big target.
See Mollett running the show. Call him the point guard, the quarterback, whatever. Oh. Great move to get Mollett some space, but he misses with the left-hand shot.
The change of direction, the separation. Mollett, we were talking about it earlier, Paul. To us, he's their offensive MVP, one of the more versatile and complete offensive players we've seen all year.
And they ask him to do so much, and when he gets caught at the defensive end, he's going to have some fatigue and going to be in some disadvantageous situations.
Dan LaMonica, 45 seconds left. This is Poole. Ooh, Poole just got crunched. Pizer.
That's a potential Under Armour hit of the game. Pizer coming with clean. Drops his shoulder. No cross-check there. Well done by Pizer. We may have had a timeout, though, by Maryland prior to that exchange.
You want to talk about forward momentum, stopping quick right there.
Poole putting his head down, going to the goal. Really didn't see Pizer, who just levels him. Clean hit, though. You like to see players use their shoulder, not the cross-check or their head.
And did you see Poole? You said he didn't see who hit him, but as soon as he hit the ground, his head was up like, who was that? What's his number? Michael Pizer, 6'2", 198 pounds worth, junior from Cold Spring Harbor, New York, with the big hit right there. 38 seconds left, back to drawn up strategy in those two huddles down there. Part of the big crowd here at Homewood Field. Got a couple more coming up here. Next week we're at UMBC, the Retrievers and Army. Not a lot of playoff implications in that one, but following couple, Towson, Hopkins, Loyola should be good ones. There's our upcoming schedule, 3 Saturday games.
Yeah, Towson's going to be a spoiler somewhere down the line. And they are due, so, and you know Dave,
they're going to take their frustrations out on somebody, right?
Dave will be letting his guys know about that.
That Loyola game at the end of the season, Loyola still has to play Georgetown. Loyola not a lock yet for the playoffs.
Well, one thing's
they could need that victory, depending on what happens, elsewhere in the nation.
One thing's pretty apparent. Dave Cottle's headed for another NCAA tournament, and that's an annual event for him, whether it was at Loyola and now at Maryland.
I still think they have some work to do, Scott.
Yeah, well, so do I. I think they need one
not
more
a given,
good W.
yeah.
They need one more good W. There's still too many teams involved.
That's what makes this year so fascinating and so intense.
The talent has been really stretched out over the last several years, and that's good for the game. It's not as concentrated as it was 10, 12 years ago.
Terps will work this for one last shot.
Down to the 22nd mark. Up top, Watkins. Now they're getting a little more urgency. Double team on Mollett. Down to 7 seconds. That shot deflected.
Well defended by the Blue Jays. You can see DeConza stepping up to help Pizer out on Mollett. He realizes that Mollett really has had the advantage there. Mollett, being the smart player he is, swings it to Watkins and then to Poole. So decent offense. It was a nice possession. Good recovery by the Blue Jay defense.
Paul McMullen, thanks for coming by. Read all about it in tomorrow's Sun.
My pleasure, Scott. Have a good one, Quint.
5-4 our halftime score. Keith Mills is down on the field with head coach Dave Cottle. We'll go down to Keith in just a second. You look at the big crowd here at Homewood. Quint, they got themselves a pretty good first half. Let's go down to Keith.
Yeah, with me, Dave Cottle, who's checking the stats. And Dave's stats might tell you one thing, but you see that this is typical Maryland Hopkins. No surprise, huh?
Yeah, I thought we played very well early in the first quarter. I didn't think we played as well later in the second quarter, so we're going to try to fix some things. We got very oriented to throwing one pass, trying to get a shot rather than spread the ball around.
What do you tell your team right now?
Well, this is a 60-minute game. We said we're going to play 2 games, one in the first half and one in the second. We wipe the scoreboard off, we start all over.
Okay, but you have a lead.
It's a long game.
Dave Cottle's club up 5-4. We'll be back with more right after this.
The Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week, brought to you by STX. Always in the game. And Baltimore County Savings Bank. Come home to Baltimore County Savings Bank.
Hey, let's take a look at some of the highlights. Maryland points for style on this one, Quinn.
Jamie Dow, the shot of the game over the shoulder, beating Murtha to the near side. That tied the score at 1 apiece.
Was tied at 2, 1 second left in the half.
Ryan Moran assisted Mike Mollett. What a great goal for the University of Maryland to score with 1 second to go.
And you call the mismatch here as Joe McDermott.
McDermott unassisted. Maryland had scored 4 in a row. He isolates against Mollett and beats McCormick 5-3 in favor of the Terps.
And Bobby Benson with his 3rd goal of the half.
Benson from Boland, money in the bank. That combination has been lethal.
5-4, we go down to Keith.
Yeah, Dave Petromola just left the Blue Jays locker room. Dave, no surprise what kind of half that was. Typical Maryland Hopkins lacrosse, huh?
Yeah, it was. I didn't think it was as physical as maybe we thought it was going to be. You know, the ground balls are even. They're generating some more shots. We need to give our offense a bit of a chance. You know, when we've had the ball, we've had some success and had some shots, but we're playing far too much defense, so we need to just be a little bit better with the ball, get it to our offense. You know, we lost our composure there for a brief period of time. They go on a 2-3 goal run. We come back. It's the kind of game you expected, and it's anybody's second half. Got to win face-offs, and we got to play good defense.
Okay, Dave, thank you very much. Dave Petromola, his team down a goal. Back upstairs to Scott and Quinn.
All right, Keith, thanks. Here's your Paramount Kings Dominion first half stats.
Take a look at the shot domination by Maryland. 20-12, they lead in that category. Face-offs, ground balls, even. Turnovers. Hopkins had 6 in the first quarter, only 2 in that second quarter. And the extra man, Maryland, 0 for 3 right now. Pretty even statistically, but I do think Maryland's defense has exerted their dominance.
Stick around. Should be a good second half. We're back right after this.
The Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week, brought to you by STX. Always in the game. And Baltimore County Savings Bank. Come home to Baltimore County Savings Bank.
We're back at Homewood Field, part of the big crowd here, and the place is packed. When you played a lot of lacrosse and have seen a lot of lacrosse, you can't imagine much bigger crowd than we have here today.
Tell you, modern era, this is as many people as I've seen. Remember in the past, they used to have the end zone. Nice hat. They used to have the end zone. Oh, don't pick your nose on TV there, little guy.
He's young. He's allowed. Maryland has outscored their opponents 31-8 in the 3rd quarter this year. So this has been the Terps' quarter. We'll see.
Yeah, you talk about defensive adjustments made at halftime. They've only given up 8 goals in the 3rd quarter this season. That's in 9 games. So that's very impressive, especially from the defensive standpoint.
And the Terps with the first possession of the second half.
Face-offs have been even. Hopkins led at 1.5-1, but since then you've got to give Brian Carroll, Paul Gillette, and Howley the advantage.
Gillette maybe just a razor edge advantage.
He is sharp. He's sharp on the wings.
He didn't even have to refer to his sheet on that one. Keith's back with us.
I come back to that.
You can hear Dave Petromola just squeaking down there.
I thought by now his voice would be history.
Watkins, left-hander, a shot and a score. Short hop goal for Nate Watkins, and it's a 6-4 Maryland lead.
This possession starts with Alex Poole. Notable work, penetrating, drawing the double team. He spins it to Mollett, and then Mollett, we talk about a guy who's unselfish, who knows where the open man is. Here he is, redistributing to the weak side. So now when Nate Watkins isolates against Benson Irwin, there's no help. Gets a good angle on the cage and nails the far corner. Here he is, Watkins right to left. Sensational pattern by the Maryland offense. Well designed. Watkins, the only multiple goal scorer for the Terps.
He scored their 5th and 6th.
Quinn, is that a play they may have designed at the half, may have to exploit that matchup?
That most teams will put a long pole on Nate Watkins. Hopkins is choosing to cover him with a shorty.
And there's a shot in the score coming back the other way. Didn't take long for him to answer.
Benson Irwin, redemption is sweet for the freshman out of France. He was just smoked on the other end, comes back on the wing of the faceoff. And something I noticed in the Navy game was Maryland over pursuing on the faceoffs. I talk about their great wing play a lot, but sometimes they tend to overplay the ball. This time Benson Irwin sneaks in behind. They win the faceoff. It's a 4-on-3 break. No respect. They give him the shot, and he beats McCormick right-handed.
Hopkins goal by number 37, Benson Irwin, assisted at 1:07, third quarter.
Yeah. Things are picking up.
Those two goals only 10 seconds apart.
Saw Dave Petromala say something intensely to Howard Offit, the assistant coach. No doubt about the face-off, Quint. Offit, the Hopkins face-off coach, played here back in the early 90s.
The pair of Kyles that we featured in our open, Kyle Harrison and Kyle Barry, have been neutralized by Maryland's defense.
Hopkins with a chance to tie. They're down 6-5, early third quarter.
Passavia now on Doniger. Howley is on Kyle Barry, and they switch.
Oh, forward.
And there's Howley.
What a catch. Is he a defenseman or is he a midfield?
3 goals, 5 assists on his career. He's willing to push that right there to get the respect of Doniger. And Doniger, you can't get caught sleeping when a guy like Howley or Passavia carries up into the offensive zone.
That squeaking is not a problem with your television set. That's Dave Petromala down on the sidelines.
Only way he knows how to coach, guys.
Oh, yeah.
As you well know, Quint played with him back in the late 80s, early 90s, and he is a gamer.
Tell you, he delivered a hit in 1988 against Maryland right here, homecoming, in the first quarter against Doug Poindexter. And that really changed that game. It was a play around midfield. Dave stepped up from his defensive position, and it was one of the most devastating hits you'll ever see. Poindexter was out cold. Emotion swung to the Blue Jays, and Hopkins won that game because of that man right there. As a defenseman, he could dominate the game. You rarely see that in the sport of lacrosse.
Dave Petromala working the sidelines, an unforced error from Maryland, and now Hopkins has it.
I'd have to compare Dave when he played to a Lawrence Taylor or a Ray Lewis, a guy who you had to focus on when you watch the play.
Account for 22nd coach here at Johns Hopkins. Assisted now by Seth Tierney, Billy Dwan, and Howard Offit. And these guys obviously know what they're doing. Dave, what, first team All-American 3 straight years, Quint?
3 straight years.
Defensive Player of the Year.
National Player of the Year, 1989.
A year when the Gate brothers were playing in Syracuse. And that you played in the NCAA championship game.
No real momentum in the game right now, just kind of going back and forth like a chess match.
Dave brought up a good point, guys. He said Dave Petromala, we lost our composure there for a couple minutes, but they got it back, and they've since played this team even, if not maybe outplaying them just a little bit.
And Dave Connell didn't want to buy the fact that he was up a goal.
Yeah, right. just wipe it clean.
Yeah.
He was in denial. He was definitely in denial. You're right.
2 games. LaMonica.
Great defense off the ball. I think Quint, other than that first possession in the second half, last half of the second quarter, they did a great job off the ball defense.
Watkins goes to the left side. Comes back the other way.
It's a pass.
Bad pass, yeah.
Whoa.
Deflected.
Right there.
Yes, it was a pass, but it was deflected off of a Hopkins stick. Ball will stay with Maryland.
Hopkins had that pass well covered, too. 2 defenders sitting right there.
Nothing easy in this one. Nothing easy in front.
No, Hopkins defense packed into less than a 10-yard radius. You look at their off-ball players, they're all in at about 8 yards, and then they step out to 10. Eventually, someone from Maryland's going to have to let an outside bouncer go.
Haven't seen one yet.
Poole Nothing there. He's getting worked over by Garvey. Now flag down.
Free possession for Maryland.
When in doubt, get it to Mollett.
Yeah.
Mollett with a shot and a score.
How did that get in?
Mollett's strong drive right-handed, his second goal of the game, both unassisted. He has been the offensive MVP. Look at him drive right-handed against Pizer. The pick right there gives him the step he needs. I love that pick at X, and he clears his stick. Great shot to the far side, and this may be a man-up face-off for Maryland, and it is. It was a slashing violation against Garvey, so it's make it, take it now for the Terps. As Hopkins only has 9 guys out on the field, it'll be a 1-minute violation.
If they get the ball. Mollett known more for his feeding than his passing, but Scotty had a monster day last week against Navy scoring. And now he is just duplicating that again today, setting up his teammates and scoring.
Looks like coming in, Coach Dave Petromollett, the defensive staff, really slow to double team and help Pizer out. But clearly Mollett has been winning that matchup.
Once Maryland recognized they had a free possession there's a push. Once Maryland recognized they had the free possession, right away they looped it long to Mollett behind the cage. 2 goals and 2 assists for Mollett in this game.
Here comes the double team. Lesueur with Howley. Maryland will shut off and pressure the ball. Hopkins has 5 on offense. The Terps have 6 on D here.
They're really not putting the pressure that you may expect. Maybe willing to just concede the penalty here, Quint.
Well, they gave up 2 shorthanded goals against Virginia, and I know that sits in the back of Coach Cottle's head. Those were transitional goals, though, not on a situation like this.
The extra man in this whole defensive scheme is playing right to the left of goalie Dan McCormick.
Yeah,
Jamie Dow, or Carrington King.
Yeah. He's just playing kind of a center field in front of the goal, and Vince Smith content to just take some laps.
So run the time off the clock.
So that face-off win or penalty on the face-off turning out to be huge right now, because 2 goals down as the teams are at even strength as McDermott comes in, number 42.
Big face-off win, Keith. Great point. That negates the penalty. Tell you, back in the old days, you win that face-off and you run in the offensive box, and the penalty was released.
Interesting. The old days. How long ago were they?
Not too long. Yeah, about 5 or 6 years ago, they changed that rule.
You like the rule? You like it?
Oh, I like it now. Back then, you could really cheap shot a guy after a goal. There'd be a face-off back then, and if you won the face-off and took it in, the guy never served it right.
Yeah.
And so now they have a lot more unreleasable fouls, and if it is a late hit, they call it a dead ball foul, so there's no face-off even.
Yeah.
So
Lesueur couldn't handle the pass, turnover. Hopkins.
You hear John Stainbrook, you see him right there yelling, good job defense.
And now we've got a timeout on the field. 8:32 to play, 3rd quarter. It's Maryland 7, Hopkins 5. The STX USILA top 10. You got 2 of them here today. Hopkins at 3, Maryland at 6. Cornell jumping up there.
Yeah, that will change obviously this week when the
put a bullet
on
them,
Monday.
Right?
But Syracuse went down. Quint, Virginia, as we mentioned, door open. Georgetown still unbeaten. But boy, it's wide open, as you guys have talked about all.
And you have a vote.
Half.
You have a vote in the InsideLacrosse.com media poll. It gets tough around 12 or 13. I found. You know, I can handle 1 through 8. After that, it's awful confusing.
I'm going to put Coppin, Morgan,
Quinnipiac,
UMES. I'm just going to switch it up a little bit.
Binghamton.
That's right. San Diego State, I might put him as number 18. Hawaii.
Watkins, good thing nobody was around to take a
double team here. Boy, what just
quick move there by Harnett to get away.
Major mistake by Maryland.
Good recovery and transition.
Not so much Watkins, but his teammates have got to let him know that there's some defensive pressure. They hung him out right there.
And that's where the added noise, the ambient noise here, communication among teammates can be difficult.
Didn't look like there was anyone over there though from Maryland that could
Watkins had no clue that he was getting pressure.
May not be able to tell at home, but there's a packed crowd here today. We'll try to get the attendance in the second half, but it is standing room only.
It's got one of the biggest I've ever seen here. Of course, it is Maryland Hopkins, and they annually draw big here.
First year we did the night game, they had a big crowd too, but this is packed everywhere. Yep.
Harrison getting worked on.
Got some room now. Ooh. Tough angle, fires wide.
The one area that Kyle Harrison's going to have to address in the offseason from freshman to sophomore years is shooting percentage. Only around 12%. He can clearly get himself the shot. And you can see that last isolation play, how he went right, left, and he gets his shot.
Yeah. Julian Gary back in and back on Kyle Harrison. Boy, Connor Ford had a shot that came right back at him. Dan McCormick saved it, knocked it right back to him.
Connor Ford has been awful quiet. McCormick has stopped him twice from point-blank range.
Nice play there by Brett Harper to elude the check and clear for Maryland. And the Terps with another chance to take a 3-goal lead.
Good offense by the Blue Jays. Credit McCormick.
Absolutely.
He has not let in a bad goal today. Benson's got 3. McDermott and Irwin have scored unassisted. Murtha as well has been solid as a rock. Both goalies extremely sharp.
Terps gets a little dangerous for Hopkins if they can score on this possession, just the way the Maryland defense has been. If they stretch it up to 3, put some pressure on Hopkins, and that's what Maryland's looking for here. There's a double team. Aceve gives it up. Not sure who that pass was intended for. Everybody kind of stood around for a second.
Mike LaMonica came out of the pack. Nice play there. Nice ground ball. Difficult pass to handle.
That looked like it might be a turnover. Yeah, that turnover written all over it.
Boy, the defensive one-on-one defense in this game is just tremendous. Nothing easy.
Quick shot from Mike LaMonica and a save.
Hockstead with a little feed down low to LaMonica. I think he was flashing from the inside out. Got the shot off. Murtha playing his angles effectively.
Take another look at the work from Nick Murtha.
Actually, this will be McCormick first, right there. Just playing his angles well. Not a well-directed shot by Ford. The right-hander shooting lefty.
Near steal.
Ground ball play crucial.
And Corey Harned.
Quint, she and Stanwood talked about winning the 50-50 balls has been a key to Maryland's success in women's ball. And obviously in a game like this, the 50-50 ball won there by Hopkins. Go a long way.
When you talk about the importance of ground balls, a great example. That little scenario right there in front of the Hopkins bench.
Under 5 minutes now left, third quarter, 7-5 Maryland. Maryland led by a goal after one. It was 3-2, 5-4 at the half.
Boland with his what we call the finalizer move, developed by Ryan Powell. Oh, smart play by McCormick.
Connor Ford got challenged.
Yeah. Boy, you're right. McCormick came out all or nothing there, Quint, and he made the decision, and he stayed with it.
Boland's move is terrific behind the cage. Draws the double team, throws it behind the 40 drives, and McCormick knows that if he doesn't come out and get him, you're going to lose that battle.
It's a goal, yeah.
Cut him off.
Boland so quick.
Same play.
And Benson with a quick stick from Ford. His 4th goal of the game, and there's a penalty marker down.
Benson from Ford. It's almost like the old Chicago Bulls with the triangle offense. Hopkins keeps 3 men on that side of the field. It starts with Boland. He kicks it to Ford, as I said before, to X, and then Benson fills. Here he is. Boland draws the double to X behind. Benson steps away from Harper, catches it, and finishes. Watch Benson step back away from trouble to give himself the separation to get that shot off. So many young players step in towards the goal, but that's where the defense is. You want to step away.
And we're going to take a timeout. It's a 1-goal game. Maryland up 7-6. Well, Bobby Benson now with 9 goals in his last 7 quarters. He's a goal machine here. The Blue Jays have pulled back within 1 at 7-6.
Should be an extra man face-off right here for Johns Hopkins. Maryland committing their first penalty of the afternoon, which is pretty good for them. Coming in last week, we saw them commit 10 fouls. On the season, they've got 55 penalties for 43 minutes, which is about 5 minutes per game. And yes, it is an extra man face-off right now.
Harrison just tries to sweep it but can't control. And Maryland comes up with it.
Yeah, Pasavia, big ground ball. And let's see now how Maryland handles the down-a-man offense here. Looks like the Blue Jays will attack it a little bit more aggressively.
Speed on speed. Watkins carrying against Harrison.
Maybe not.
Harrison went after him initially. Now starting to close in.
Again, Hopkins kind of playing it the same way Maryland did when putting their extra man defender protecting goalie Nick Murtha. That man is Chris Watson, number 43. See him with no man in his area.
Now Watkins, just a little spin on Harrison, and just comes back to the near side.
Hopkins playing it straight up. Bolin is a designated backer. He's sitting in front of Murtha. No double team. Harrison is stalking Watkins, but really not going to make the check, and now we're back to all even. So both teams, Keith, as you said, were man down on their face-offs, but managed to win the draw. Pasavia came up with a loose ball. Previously, I think it was Harnett who came up with the big ground ball.
And then interesting how both coaches played it pretty much the same way. Let's just not give up anything here.
It's not exciting, but it's a way to take care. Yeah, right. Today's attendance, 8,642. 8,642 here at Homewood. And they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Maryland up 1-7-6.
Many were here for the first game. The Maryland women beat Hopkins 13-8.
Good matchup for Maryland right here. Mollett against Boland. Looks for the quick double.
You just see him clear it out. And there's the double team. Called that Quint.
They get the switch. Maryland has been warned for stalling. They must keep the ball in the box. You can see Hans Whittelberger, the official, right at the bottom of your screen with his hand up in the air.
Ooh, quick move there. Wow.
Up top, Mollett, left-hander, sails high, backed up.
One of the few Quint outside shots we've seen Maryland take today from a set offensive position.
Mollett with that change of direction. He caught it right-handed. The defenseman's flying out at him, and he manages to sneak by, take the shot over the goal.
Oh, Murtha with a play.
Good play by Murtha because Alex Poole was open on the backside. He had cut to the goal.
Chess match here, it looks like, fellas.
Minute and a half left in the quarter.
Both teams with just 4 shots in the quarter. Looked like early on we were going to have a little shootout here. Teams were coming down and just letting loose, but now much more conservative with the ball, methodical, yeah.
Each team has scored 1 transition goal. There have been no extra man goals. Been pretty even facing off in between the pipes as far as the goaltender battle.
Boland, penalty marker down, and so is Boland.
1 minute remaining in the quarter and a foul.
Kevin Boland got...
Wow, his quickness. He plays at a quicker speed than anyone can really imagine. You see him on film, you see him do the plays, and Carrington King is not a great matchup for him. King is 6'3", 6'4", and just gets him in the back of the head. Boland really had a lot of open goal here.
Just came underneath him, Quint, just ducked around underneath him.
McCormick came out to make the hit, and Carrington King took his legs out. So there's Boland. What a hero.
More from Gilman.
Syracuse game, he was a hero. The Carolina game, he had the winning assist.
See what the Hopkins extra man does today, I believe for the first time on offense.
And they've been real good this year.
Good catch. Oh, what a play. What a play.
All set up, but they couldn't finish.
Yeah.
Ford missed the layup. He had more time. But that's where the physical intensity of the Maryland defense
for you to say.
Can scare you. Exactly.
There's one from outside. Doniger rips the cords. And the extra man offense has been very good. That's now 16 of 32 on the year, and they came in with 10 of their last 15 in this game.
The Terps had Hopkins on the ropes. It was 5-2 early, but Hopkins has come back to score the next 5 out of 7 goals. Doniger, that is a blast. 90+ miles an hour, pops it, just lets it rip. There's no way McCormick's going to catch up to that one, folks. That ball is absolutely smoking the extra man goal, and we are tied.
With 36 seconds left, see the numbers on Doniger. That's a weapon that maybe Maryland doesn't have on the extra man, that outside shot.
The perimeter shot,
yeah.
Exactly.
Maryland in.
Pasavia, will he get it? Oh, good defense there by number 29 for Hopkins.
10-second violation. 10-second violation coming up
there's
right
the
here.
call.
And there it is on the far side.
Good hustle by LaSour. Quint, the freshman from Hopkins, number 29. All started there when Pasavia simply dropped the pass from Brian Carroll off the faceoff. See Julian Gary, number 11, running back in the game.
Here comes Donover.
That's a bad turnover this late. Ooh, McCormick got a piece. 4 seconds to go. That was a huge turnover right there.
Boy, what a momentum swing there if Doniger knocks it in.
McCormick got a piece of the Doniger rifle.
Oh!
Benson.
Boy, that was a Connor Ford fed Benson right in front. Benson got a stick on it.
You got a feeling those two work well together,
yes,
right?
Indeed.
Yeah,
yes,
they
indeed.
knew exactly with that little time left what they were going to try, and they almost snuck one in. That's the end of the quarter. 3 in the books. A 7-7 tie.
It's a...
Well, if you looked at the Paramount Kings Dominion stats, you might think you got a tie game.
It's about as even as it gets. Take a look at those numbers. You could fold it over, switch the logos up top. Scott Kleinfeld and our crew in the truck doing a great job with all the numbers today. Down at the bottom, though, maybe the stat that makes the biggest difference. Extra man for Maryland, 0 for 4. Hopkins, 1 of 2.
Harrison right off the break. Benson.
Benson to the near side with an off-speed shot, trying to lure McCormick off that near post.
And Quint, really, guys, for the first time since early in this game, Hopkins with a chance now to take a little control. They've been playing catch up and dogging for a long time.
That's why you have to play a 60-minute game to beat
Absolutely.
this team. They go through periods where they don't play so hot, but they fall behind by only 2 or 3. They make their rally, and we've seen it time in and time out this season. They've found ways to win these type of ball games. And if Maryland relaxes for a second, boom, there goes their lead.
No doubt about it.
LaSour did a good job going down that time to maintain possession.
It's really the first third quarter this year that Maryland has not dominated. They were outscored 3-2. Remember, coming in, they had a 31-8 advantage in that third quarter.
Tell you what, when that ball hits the ground on the defensive end, Maryland's like a pack of wolves going to the blood. Unbelievable.
We had that stat that Maryland had outscored their opponents 31-8 in the third quarter. Hopkins outscored them 3-2, so kind of reversed that trend.
See what gives here in the fourth quarter. First minute in the books, and the first turnover of the quarter goes to Hopkins.
What was that cue line again, just for those
Maryland was favored by a goal and a half.
Okay.
Under-over was at 18. Tell you, Maryland has been playing the same personnel now, and you got to wonder about fatigue. Seems like Mollett, Watkins, and Poole have been on the field this entire second half.
Except the pace of this game has been a little sluggish, don't you think?
That's true. It's really slowed down here in the second half.
Watkins trying to find some room. And Mollett turns the corner, found the gap. A slight opening there. He found it, got down low and scored. And then a penalty after the goal.
His third of the game, the hat trick, all identical goals where he isolates from behind the cage, right-handed. He is so quick back there, gets the inside step, and then he's got deceptive strength. Right here, Harnett takes the wrong angle. He comes in, deals with the double team from Benson Irwin, and shoots the ball far side. There was a flag down. Harnett, you see, over pursuing.
Looked like he went for the steal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Poor angle. The slide is late. Mollett's got 3. The Terps are in the lead.
And another example, guys, of a big face-off here that if Maryland can win, they'll go on the extra man.
Actually, the foul was wiped off. It was
wiped off.
It was a push.
I'm sorry.
It was a push by Benson Irwin, so that gets wiped off with the goal.
Mollett, a 5-point game, 3 goals, 2 assists.
Wing play so crucial. Howley comes up with that one. Cottle calls the quick timeout.
Smart play all the way around. Good play from Howley. Dave Cottle has been in this situation before, pondering his next move, but you have to feel that Dave Petramala, Quint, would have done the same thing had his guy came up with the face-off.
Forget copies this game, any of our games on the Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week, available inside Lacrosse, 410-583-8180, or you can get online InsideLacrosse.com.
You're watching this game in the Baltimore area. Maybe you have a lacrosse friend or family member out of town who doesn't get the opportunity to see games like this. This is a great way to send the game out west.
A lot of fans picking us up on the internet now as we listen in to Dave Petramala.
We will come 4. Do you understand that? Now you got to buckle down. You got to handle the ball in the offensive end.
Fucking go! Go, baby, go! Yeah, good job. Good job. Maybe your guys slot. The goalie guy. Mike who? Molly. Picking that ball off? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Throw it quicker if we can. Throw it quicker and make sure you don't let that kid intercept the ball. Because once we have it, we got a 2-on-1 on the backside. All right, let's go.
All right, we're set to go. 13:04 left. Fourth quarter, 8-7, Maryland on top. Mike Mollett has broken the tie with his third goal and 5th point of the game.
See, you see kind of like the two coaches, Dave Petramala, much more emotional, rallying his team behind the emotion and his intensity. As you see the crowd here, huge crowd. You see the guy they call Petro, and then Dave Cottle, Quentin, certainly not as less intense, but certainly a different way to approach his players than Dave Petramala.
One of Coach Cottle's goals this season was to have his team play on a more even emotional level, start to finish, March 1st through Memorial Day. Not ride the peaks and valleys that you often can over the course of a season. He wants his team to be a little more businesslike in their approach and kind of crescendo their emotion for the playoffs.
You know, Scott, you look at Mollett. I think Michael Pizer has done a good job on him. Yet he has 3 goals and a couple of assists.
Yeah.
And, you know, you wonder where it comes from, Quint, you know?
He picks his spots awful well. When to push, when not to push. Rarely turns the ball over.
Yeah.
For a guy who's so gutsy going to the cage like that, it's just he makes the right decisions. He understands when to go.
Jamie Dow.
Oh, boy, that's a tough pass there.
Poole can't control, but Terps get it back.
Guess who?
Yep.
Big hop up top to Mollett.
You brought up the Juan Dixon comparison, Quint, earlier about Mollett's precision on the move, yet he does Johnny on the spot in terms of Juan Dixon being around the ball on the offensive end. Dave Cottle showing some faith in Jamie Dow here in this sequence.
We have a loose ball on the field, or maybe a mouthpiece violation. No, it's actually the warning Dow for equipment. His chin strap was unbuckled. It's Brian Abbott. Butch West, the other official, lining up the goal.
Sure, this is a fun game for them to work too. You just feel the energy. Big crowd rivalry like this.
Of course, every call contested. You know, it's just that's the way it is.
Coaches barking.
Nice job by Dow going back door that time, but nice job by the defense reading that.
8-7 Maryland. Terps in possession.
Poole.
Yeah.
Poole in the 1-4-1 set.
Murtha makes the play.
Big save by Murtha. Poole from a left-handed severe angle. Maryland's in their 1-4-1 set. Poole will initiate. Dan LaMonica then would usually peel off behind, but Poole really thought he had the shot. And that's a big save. Not only did he make the save, but he controlled his rebound.
Yeah.
Popped it straight up into the air.
And then didn't panic. Quint took his time, made sure he had all his players where they're supposed to be on the clear, and just calmly distributed the ball.
Hopkins trying to tie it up, down 1 in the 4th quarter.
You mentioned 1-goal game, Scott, coming into this game, and we're setting up for another finish like that. We could almost see that one coming, though, the last couple of weeks. These guys very similar in their approach to defense and how they contest almost every pass and every shot.
I thought Maryland last week against Navy kind of pulled it back in the second half and almost said, okay, we'll play the slow-down style. And it almost backfired on them. But it seems like their offense in the second half today is a little more conservative than they were in the first also.
Of course, also, Quinn, if you're seeing
or you got to credit the defenses
the
also.
defense is so big and fast and active.
got a call against Maryland, so Hopkins will retain possession.
Interference.
Dave Cottle is not happy with it. Dave Petromal is lobbying, pays off.
That would be the one call every game that opponents put their hands up and say, you know, that's the Homewood call that goes with the home field advantage.
McDermott off on the wing, listening to instruction from his bench. Up top, left-hander, a save. Nice job by Danny McCormick. Yep.
Yeah.
LeSueur battling for it.
Dave Petramala calls timeout.
Yeah, he saw his guy was in trouble. A timeout taken with 9:32 left fourth quarter. Maryland 8, Hopkins 7.
On April 24th, Broadway's smash hit musical returns to Baltimore.
FanCam is presented by Towson University Athletics. For the latest information on the Tigers, log on to www.towsontigers.com. Yeah, full house here at Homewood today, and it's been a good one. Close throughout. Maryland leads 8-7, 9:32 left. Weather held off. Nice afternoon.
Quint, 113 years of lacrosse at Homewood, and
801 victories.
That's a lot of games.
Haven't missed a year in this series since World War II.
Jeez.
46 on. Oh, Boland with a quick shot. McCormick
body
like
save.
He could find it at first for the rebound, right?
You hear the coaches screaming for 10 seconds, but they get a better break than that. They get a steal.
Second chance opportunity. How much can McCormick do himself here? That last save, terrific. His stick, there's no way he's going to get a stick across his body to make that save. At the last moment, he took his right hand and popped that elbow up and made the save.
Yeah, two big saves by McCormick, yet Hopkins comes back with the steal both times.
He took one for the club.
You can't knock them out, Quint. They keep coming back.
Ford up to Benson.
Brazilian teams are very successful.
Connor Ford. Lee Zink on Ford.
Gillette trying to shut off Boland, doing a good job. He knows how dangerous Kevin Boland is.
You know, we haven't called Zink or Ford's name often today, which is probably a compliment to Zink.
Gary back in there, Julian Gary.
Being thrown back in the fire, Julian Gary.
Big point of the game, right?
Nice defense.
Good defense that time. Kind of glided over the back of the net there.
Doniger. What a shot.
Dave Petromal just constantly barking.
A blast through traffic. Halley's got to pick it up there. He's got to step out and challenge Doniger. That shot on the run is nearly impossible to stop. What we've noticed about Doniger this year, it's either in the goal or out of bounds.
30 feet away.
There's not much.
If it's on goal, it's in goal.
Usually,
right?
that's the way it's been for him.
And now you see Gary, I noticed, on Connor Ford. We'll see if they try to exploit that matchup a little bit here.
Halfway through the fourth quarter. Maryland up 1, 8-7.
Ford looking for the ball and getting it, and
errant pass.
Well done by Lee Zink. Julian Gary extending behind the cage. Terrific defensive possession. Brett Harper never left Benson. Hopkins, I thought, put some good off-ball movement, but Maryland reacted. They recovered. Excellent possession for the Terp defense.
So many good coaches with a lot of experience, but these two guys, Quint, really take it to a different level at times, it seems like, on the defensive end.
Maryland's got two guys right in front of our box. They're being covered by the same player.
Yeah.
Fortunate to clear there.
Of course, give some kudos to Dick Adele. It was his recruiting that brought in Halley and Passavia and Brett Harper and pretty much every player on this team, so to speak. That, of course, will change next year as Dave Cottle's first freshman class will come to College Park. And with 6 minutes left, this is a big possession for Hopkins. trying to keep it to a 1-goal lead. They have done a remarkable job of that, Quinn. They've only given up, what, 2 goals this half? I'm not mistaken, 2, 3 maybe.
Watkins. Look out, here he comes, muscling in. Double team. Ooh, made the right choice.
Wow.
Scary little shuffle pass there.
Oh, no doubt.
Coming up on the 6-minute mark, both teams have 1 timeout remaining. We will get a TV break at about the 5-minute mark. So we should be pretty continuous here.
Not much going inside today, fellas.
Cool. Nothing there.
Cons are all over Dan LaMonica. Haven't heard much from Dan today as well.
Good position defense. The body and the stick.
Deflected. Tim Muir.
But an interesting idea from Mollett. Or from LaMonica, I should say. Cross skip pass if it works. Certainly an open shot.
I guess if they're not threatening you from outside like Doniger can do on the other end, you can play your defense a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopkins won't have to start stretching their defense, I would think, until about the 2-minute or 1:30 mark. Till then, they're just going to play it straight up.
You get too aggressive early and give up an easy one. Here's Watkins.
Again, the quick help.
Poole gets up front, drops down.
And that will be Maryland's ball. Nate Watkins.
Murtha got a piece. Poole trying to draw the call for interference. Falls into the crease. So Murtha got the piece of the shovel shot. Poole was bumped. He went down. I was watching him. He went down as if to say, hey, I was interfered with, and put his hand in the crease, and the ref was right there to make the call.
So Hopkins back on the other end, looking to tie. Getting near the 5-minute mark.
Maryland won this game last year 10-9 at Byrd, and they're up 8-7 here, and there's still a lot of time left.
You know, Maryland's approach has changed on offense, but when these two get together, you're going to get this kind of game, right?
Yeah.
Maryland taking a lot more shots this year than they did a year ago.
Didn't think either team would get to double digits today.
Yeah.
Excellent defenses.
Q lines.
They've only combined for, what, 48 shots already in this game. 25 for Maryland, 23 for Hopkins. Hopkins' last goal's got 36 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Nothing going there.
But Benson is all tied up in the middle. You just saw him get dumped.
Flags down. Here's Ford turning the corner, and he got hammered.
Brett Harper on that, Quint. Maybe a little...
Harper off ball. This hammering Benson drew multiple flags. It must have been bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it was no doubt about it. I mean, he leveled him. We'll take a look at it right in front of the goal.
Keep your eye on the left side of the screen. Benson's trying to cut to the cage. He initiates a little contact. Ooh, it's there's a little Battier in that move right there.
Watch Ford.
The Battier move. Yeah, and then Ford recognizes.
There's a tendency to back off a little once the flag goes down, and Ford was...
Yeah, you're right. It's a good
Smart
move
play
because
by
most of
Ford.
the players will look at the referees for a second.
Absolutely.
They'll see the flag.
Yeah.
There's that hesitation, that relax, and Ford attacked at the right moment. But Benson, the veteran, draws the call.
Extra man today. Maryland 0 for 4. Hopkins converted 1 of 2.
Tough not to call interference on that call, though. Harper did
impede his
There's
progress.
Benson, and a good save. Oh, and a rebound. Boland fires it past McCormick, and we are tied at 8.
Boland on the extra man, the rebound off of McCormick. Boland scored a goal identical to this in the Virginia game, where he ends up top, not known for his velocity of his shot, but the placement is spectacular. McCormick really kind of lost his balance after the first save.
Quinn, I was going to ask you, because McCormick came out to cut off the angle, I think, on the Benson goal. Was he back in position where he wanted to be?
Didn't look like he was square and in a good stance. Watch the play entirely. Keep your eye on McCormick. Great save right there. He's back on his line. Boland, one touch, catches it, fires it in the same motion. Beautiful location.
What a play.
Under 4 minutes left. We're tied at 8. All right, here's the tying goal.
What's impressive about this effort, catches it one cradle and redirects it with full velocity. Usually that ball comes off the goalie with a lot of spin, and it's tough to control. But Boland positioned his feet so that when it did hit his stick, he was ready to let it rip.
So Bolin ties it up, 4th tie of the game. We're tied at 1, 2, 7, and now 8. 3:59 to play, and a big face-off here. Harrison controls.
Wins it cleanly, Scott. Quint wins it cleanly.
When he gets it to space, it's over.
Whoa. Yeah. And now Carroll must play defense on him here.
The last lead Hopkins had was at 2-1 on a Benson goal in the first quarter. Trying to get the lead back now.
Seth Tierney running the Hopkins offense now.
Harrison up top. Doniger. Great save, McCormick.
Benson with interference right there.
Without a doubt.
Benson
and a penalty.
And flags are down, and Maryland, that could be costly. Lee Zink lost his composure.
Pasavilla's losing his composure too. He is really letting Benson have it verbally.
I think it's Kyle Berry he's letting have it.
Well, he was pointing to Benson because Benson kind of got away with one there. If you're touched though offensively, you look. This is most like hockey, a scrum in front of the goal. You're touched, you go down, and you'll see Zink come in late after the interference, protecting his goalie. Good save right there. Watch the rebound. Interference right there with the goalie with possession. Here comes the hit, right to left,
whistle
right there, and right there. And Benson goes down.
He hit Berry harder than he hit Benson.
Yeah. Benson's drawn 2 of those. Here's Zink right there. But
he barely touched Benson.
Benson knows.
Sure, good play.
And now Pasavilla comes in because he's incensed that Benson went down.
Now another flag went down. We'll see what the other one was for. The officials sort this one out.
See if we can hear down below when they call him out.
One minute on Lee Zink. There he is in the penalty box.
And that looks like the only penalty called, and Dave Cottle realizes this team's really with their backs to the wall right now. Only 3:14 left. McCormick had just made another big save. Quinn, he's made 3 big saves in this quarter, and 3 times his team has not been able to come up with the ball.
Now remember this too, Hopkins' extra man has been sensational.
2 today, 2 goals today.
12 out of their last 18, I believe, over a 4-game period.
Around 50% for the season. Maryland brings in some extra man players, Andy Berman and Rob Hoffman, number 8. They're shutting off Benson with Alex Poole. They're trying to play 5-on-4, now Poole releases.
And Benson comes back into the offense, and we'll see what they do here.
Under 3 minutes left, game is tied. Hopkins with the extra man. Up top.
Oh boy, they gave him some room.
Woo. He had some time and space, Kyle Berry.
He backed off of him.
That shot.
Berry looked a little surprised by that, Quinn.
It was a parting of the Red Sea. He had the whole cage.
Like having that 12-foot jumper, nobody's around.
Yeah, and you look around and see where the defense is.
Here's Berry again. Fires, rebound. Benson, and a great save. McCormick came up huge twice in that sequence.
Wow, McCormick showing the lacrosse world that he's a primetime goalie. Was not happy with his performance in the Virginia game down the stretch, but that could be the play of the game. No question. He's feeling it right now. Hopkins with some good chances. McCormick, what can he say?
And how many times have we seen Benson do that? Obviously, McCormick knew that Benson was on the doorstep.
Watkins cranks it up and bounces it high.
Team's now back to even strength.
We're under 2 minutes, 1:56 left. Well, guys, this is what everybody came to see, right? 2 minutes left. Let's go.
Here we go. Strap it on. Good goaltending, great defense.
Don't forget we have overtime. This thing stays tied. Watkins.
Let's see if Murtha can show the poise that he has all season and counter McCormick's great saves.
McCormick with 2 in that last sequence. But if Maryland winds up winning this thing, we're game winners.
No doubt about it.
Watkins with the Jets.
Oh, there's a great pass. Great pass.
Poole.
And Murtha stuffed him.
Poole gave him the good fake.
And then he looked like he pulled it back.
And then he expected Murtha to be drawn off his line, timeout Hopkins, but Murtha, huge save. Poole gives him the good fake, which he should. but Murtha made the recovery, was up in the air, and somehow shifted to the left to take away that near post, and then Poole hit him. You can't really blame Alex Poole for the shot. He gave the extra fake, and Murtha just matched up with him.
How about clutch goalkeeping with the game on the line on both ends?
Oh, jeez.
These guys are showing
better than that.
I mean, I'm nervous up here. They're down there.
Let's take a look first at Danny McCormick's work between the pipes on the Maryland end.
The rocket shot from the outside, and then the rebound goes right to Boland. Look at McCormick reset himself, somehow get his stick in the air, and then control his rebound.
What a great pass by Boland on that play to set up Benson.
And once Benson, it's near him, it's going toward the goal.
Switch. Great job, on the picks, PJ DeGonza, Michael Kaiser. Switch on him. Tom Garvey, Corey Arney. Whoever's picked, we switch. Watson. Switch on all the picks behind the goal.
Slow one like
if it's a slow one, no, but communicate. Over here right now.
I want you to play two-man game. You want to attack play. I want two-man game. Just hit the ball. The offensive guys are 20 yards. You put yourself out there a little bit. You step down. We'll have a nice, easy shot. That was a great look on AP. He just didn't finish his shot. You get it to stop, we'll get it. All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Come on.
1:07 left. You hear the intensity down on the field. It's all on the line. Maryland and Hopkins tied at 8.
Now, what we didn't see in Hopkins' huddle was Seth Tierney talking to the offensive players about what they're going to do. You saw Dave Cottle talking to his defensive players about if Maryland gets the ball, what they're going to do. And obviously, Dave Cottle trying to set his defense down there the other end.
Think of your Johns Hopkins. The three guys throughout the season who have shown up at crunch time are Kevin Boland, Doniger, and Benson. They've made the plays when the game is on the line.
Connor Ford in possession.
Hopkins out of timeouts. Maryland has one left.
Watkins on Ford.
We're under a minute. Under a minute left in regulation.
Gillette on LeSueur. And the freshmen continue to get a lot of crunch time here. There's a screen.
LeSueur up top.
Ooh, nice catch by Doniger.
Doniger controls, and now Boland with it. See the time remaining, 34 seconds.
Well, they're trying to get the ball to LeSueur and can't.
Ford with it. Musselin out front, off the pipe.
Hit the post.
Loose in front. Maryland had it. Blue Jays get it back. Benson with it. 18 seconds. So we've had great saves. We've had posts.
You gotta step out and play Doniger here. He's got the outside shot.
Well, Halley's on him.
Seconds. Doniger gets some help. Bounces it off. Goal, rebound, scramble, and we're going overtime.
Oh my!
Doniger
Stay with us.
Mixes it up with the bounce shot, and you can see McCormick expecting the high one. He almost tricked him with the outside bouncer, but Maryland holds tight there with 1:07 to go. They were taken to the ropes. The shot went off the post.
Whoa, what a last
Connor
2
Ford.
minutes of lacrosse.
Connor Ford hit the far post.
So we had great saves. We had a shot off the post, and now we've got a 4-minute sudden death overtime.
Let's go back 2 minutes to the goaltending. You mentioned it, Scott. McCormick saves one here, saves two here, and Murtha saves one right here, point blank from Alex Poole.
Call a timeout. We got to buckle down and play good.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back with overtime right after this.
There's no time. We got to play the ball well. We got to switch on everything.
And here's the shot off the pipe right there. How close can you come to winning a game?
Wow, Ford. And then watch this last shot by Doniger. Puts the ball down, was hoping for a screen, and McCormick stands tall, makes the save. Last time these two teams went to overtime, 1985.
Maryland controls the draw. It's a 4-minute overtime period. If nobody scores, put 4 more minutes up.
Coach Cottle will stand directly next to the official here. If he doesn't like the way this possession is evolving, he'll call a quick timeout.
No doubt about it. If he senses pressure or senses any kind of turnover, you can bet the ranch, she'll call a timeout.
This is where we're supposed to mention that Navy played a 6 overtime game earlier this year.
Yeah, there you go. We have nothing to do, right? We got a black tie dinner tonight.
They'll save. They'll wait. Right.
With Mollett with a step.
Draws the double team. Can't handle it.
And a
push. Yep.
Well, you can hear the crowd as that ball was loose, escalating.
Benson Irwin called on the push. Hey, regulation, guys, we're tied 8-8, shots dead even. 28 for both teams.
How even are these teams, huh? Oh, there'll be a winner or a loser today, but I tell you what, these teams are dead even.
Mollett. Quint, in the games we've seen overtime, we have seen very conservative possessions.
Very typical. Last year we saw a 4 overtime game, Virginia Hopkins. Really, both offenses in that game afraid to make plays, afraid to make mistakes, but you can't blame them. You're dealing with sudden death here.
Absolutely. Yeah. 1 or 2 possessions each overtime is what we saw in the 4 overtime game.
Mollett to Konza and a steal. Corey Harnett.
Here come the Blue Jays.
Wow.
Timeout Hopkins.
What a shift of emotions in this one in the last 5 minutes of regulation and now in overtime.
The last 30 seconds. Harnett with the pickoff. Mollett trying to loop this ball over the defense. Coach Petramala calls timeout.
Listen up, please. Keep switching on that, Timmy. Gotta be careful inside. They throw it in there, let you go. We gotta stay switched. Look inside. We're probably gonna be due, not 4, because they're taking away that shot. Worry. Nice. Watch him going over there. Listen to me. No transition. On three. Win. 1, 2, 3.
That was. Here's the Corey Harnett steal, which sets up that emotional timeout instruction from Seth Tierney, who is Bill Tierney's nephew. And obviously we heard it's going to start with Kevin Boland to Bobby Benson. We'll see what happens.
And I'm sure that's not going to surprise Maryland, so it's just a matter of who executes.
Who executes, obviously. Hopkins executed on the defensive end last possession.
Pete Lesor back behind the goal forward, got bopped by Watkins.
Just a little subtle shoulder into the
attacking the short sticks. Paul Gillette and Nate Watkins will be tested. Howley, Zink, Harper, and Pasavia off the ball here.
There's the double team, and they get it out to Boland. Good. Shot and a score. It's over. Hopkins wins. Kyle Berry, the freshman. 9-8 Blue Jays. Maryland led for much of this game. Great play on both ends, but a perfectly run play. Berry coming off the pick around the corner.
Unselfish ball movement. They get it done. It starts with Boland to Ford. Great ball rotation, and then Barry buries it. He's been quiet all day. His first goal, the freshman from the Haverford School, cans it for Hopkins, and you really got to feel bad for Maryland. Here's the play. Boland will get the assist. Just splits the defense. You see the down pick, the screen set by Benson, takes out 2 defenders, and Barry beats McCormick, who has played valiantly in the 4th quarter. Have to feel bad for the loser of this game, because I think both teams played so hard and so well.
Yeah, Quinn, I agree. Scott, it was a dead even horse race for much of this game. As we mentioned, had to be a winner, had to be a loser. But give Hopkins credit, Quinn. Maryland had the first possession, did not execute their offense, and Hopkins did. And that's why they won this game.
Corey Harnett doesn't get an assist for that goal, but you can give him one because he picked off the pass and set it up. Let's take a look at the Six Flags America player of the game. Player of the game, Bobby Benson. Kept Hopkins in it early on when Maryland had him on the ropes.
Benson, 4 goals on the afternoon, coming off a 5-goal effort against Ohio State. But I tell you, the 2 fouls he drew late against Maryland were huge plays in this game. Benson doing it in so many different ways. The junior from McDonough, our Six Flags America player of the game.
Maryland had run off 4 straight goals. They had a 5-2 lead in the second quarter, but Hopkins wins it in overtime on the Kyle Berry goal. 9-8 the final. We'll be back to Homewood right after this.
The Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week, brought to you by Toyota. More choices, better choices. Get the feeling. Toyota. Wells Discount Liquors. Visit Wells for all your entertaining needs. And Union Memorial Sports Medicine. Outstanding in the field.
I'm very impressed, but see the extra man? That makes the difference down the stretch. It was the Hopkins extra man. 2 goals in the second half. They win their 4th 1-goal game of the season.
Wow.
Hard to believe they've been that clutch.
See Kyle Berry's father right there, no doubt a proud papa as his son knocks down the game winner.
Let's check out our Bud Light save of the game. There were some good ones.
McCormick and Murtha, 2 of the nation's best, going toe-to-toe, both for